Here they go. Fire truck just left the gym. I tell you, every night I come 8:58 p.m. I just talked to an officer who was circling the parking lot 15 times. His name is Street. Badge number 128, he said. Vehicle number 3543. Watch how many of them are posted up down there. Look at that. Now, I said I was going to do a before and after video every time I come out here, but you know what? Sometimes I get too busy. I can't do all that stuff. But sure enough, as soon as I get to the gym, they, are you going to go, bro? Or you going to let me go? All right, so let me go. Thank you. Had to stop at a stop sign, obey the law. Make sure my seatbelt is on. Let me put my seatbelt on. I should not be holding this phone in my hand as I'm driving by these boys, but you know what? Hopefully I don't see there's one over there. One. Fire truck number 2. Another one over there. So we got one here in front of me. Vehicle engine number 2. Right? You got one over there. Second one. And then you got a third one. Let me wind the window down. Over there. By the Riverfront Events. Hyatt. And you got one in my rear view cutting across. Right? And then I didn't get on video the police officer I was just talking to, a Hispanic guy. His name was Street. He said that my name is Street. I guess it's spelled S-T-R-E-E-T. All right. So funny thing is, I just left PlanetFitness, and I guess they're all aware now what's going on with my situation, because they seem to be very they have this little look on their face like, oh my gosh, that sucks look. The look somebody gives you where it's like, you know what? So a situation sucks that you're going through something, but they don't want no part of it either because they don't, you know what I mean? So it is what it is, man. This is the new world. I don't know how long this kind of stuff has been going on. I've watched a lot of videos on this topic on YouTube. And when I say a lot, I don't mean a lot in the sense where how can I say, the world is aware of the magnitude of how these guys abuse their power and what they're doing to harass people and stalk people and and all that kind of stuff. I mean a lot, and there is people out there posting their experiences about going through this stuff of gangstalking and constant police harassment, and as a targeted victim, and the point I made, the point I was trying to just make on that note is that I don't know how these people are allowed to get away with this stuff, man. I really don't. First of all, I don't know how you find the time. If you're in a metro city and there's all this stuff going on, how do you find time to mess with a select? I'm just talking across the country. If there's 50 states, let's say 50 major metros, because I say each state probably has a metro area, downtown, a big, and they're out here doing this to black people primarily. Although I've seen white folks, create some videos, especially these couple of white guys. I've seen more white men. I haven't really seen white women to that extent making any videos about this topic, right? But mostly white men. I've seen a couple. But I'd say 98 to 99%, obviously, definitely black people, black men, some women, but definitely black men. You know what I mean? How is this being allowed? How are they getting away with this? Is my main question. How? with awareness increasing, although you ask most people still, do you know what gang stalking is? They'll tell you no, right? But I just think there's been enough videos on YouTube where you can see people, who look like, when people are talking about, some people look helpless, man. They look really like drained, you know what I mean? And sad. It's really sad. Like they look like they have no hope of ever being left alone, where they can just live a normal life. Because that's all people want to do. They just want to live a normal life, right? People just want to live a normal life. Just like you who may watch this video, you live a normal life. You just want to wake up and go to the gym and do what you do and do how you do what you do, whatever that lifestyle is. We all have a right to try to live a normal life. Nobody wants to wake up every day feeling like they're under a microscope, and feeling like they're living in a fishbowl. That is the nature of how they create the environment through the gang stalking for you to feel like you always got to be looking over your shoulder. You always got to be crossing your fingers to some extent and making sure that you checked all your, checklist items of how you remain situationally aware in every situation, in every circumstance, whether you're going to the store, because again, gang stalking is primarily about, vandalism and sabotage, right? Layered with psychological abuse when they come with their sirens and all. That's the psychological abuse part. When they're constantly hovering around you in their vehicles, right? That aspect of it is psychological abuse. What you don't see in these videos that people talk about is the vandalism, the stuff that they do to vandalize and wreck your life and destroy your life remotely behind the scene. And I would say it's more easier for them to do that now in this day and time because we live in a digital first economy, a digital world where everything, the goal of this whole world, the whole new world order is very simple, is to digitize everything. You're talking to a guy who has 20 plus years of digital experience. That's my background, right? That's my expertise. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's well known. The whole world is supposed to be a switch, an on and off switch for these people, where they can literally track you, monitor you, surveil you, debank you, deplatform you, censor you, marginalize you, cut you off from resources by flip of a switch. It never used to be like that in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, right? Going into the 90s, going into the early 2000s. If you wanted to wreck somebody's life, you actually had to put work into it. You have to go, do it physically. In this new world, the problem with dealing with stuff like this is that it's much easier for these oppressors, because that's really what they are. They're oppressors, right? Here's a fire truck. He just left. I guess there was no fire. Why'd you show up showing your... Oh, my God. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, they left the Hyatt. There's no fire. I don't see no fire. You didn't put out no fire. You wasn't checking no sprinkler system. You just showed up to put on your sirens. And then they do that to hope that I'm going to go run and tell everybody, see, here's the boogeyman. There's the boogeyman. Oh, my gosh, the boogeyman is here again. Psychological abuse to make you look crazy, to make you look unstable, to make you look like you're paranoid. You know what I mean? And I can get it if they're, again, doing this to certain people and people don't. But I've seen enough videos where this is getting more and more by the day. It's the awareness is starting to build. People know. Not everybody knows about it, but I've seen enough videos where this should be like, by now, should have made it to some type of legislative agenda or bill or something where some type of person in a position of authority, whether in Congress or your local city council or a local, executive branch in the state, right? Where they rein these people in, man. Be like, nah, what y'all doing out here, bro? But because it's against us, a lot of black people, they don't give a shit, right? They don't give a shit. Obviously. So you showed up for 3 minutes to put on your sirens and you drive off. Why 3 trucks? Why the need for 3 of them? Anyway. And I guarantee you, date and time, December 28th, 9:08. Come tomorrow. You're going to see this every single day I come to the gym. You'll see them pop up and show up. And the only thing I need to do is before and after videos so I can start to build my channel out in a sense where I could really show like, man, this is just a waste of tax. This is where your tax dollars are going. Your tax dollars that you're paying to the government is going to them using the money to pay city employees to go out and mind fuck certain people. You're paying for this. So when they don't respond to your call, when you call the police and they take 3 hours to show up, you know why they take 3 hours to show up? Because they're not doing their job. They're out here targeting me. When your car is broken into and you call dispatch and you're like, hey, listen, I have an emergency situation, and they tell you, oh, the officer will be there, and you're sitting around waiting. Like, I forgot who was that. The girl at PlanetFitness was telling me that the other night. She was like, yeah, man, because she gets it, right? Not everybody's going to get this. Some people you talk to about this stuff, it's like they give you this dumb look on their face like you're the problem. You just got to leave them people alone, man. Let them live in their la-la land of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, let them live in the bubble thinking you're safe. Because if they're doing this to me, people need to understand, the way they start off with these things is if they can get away with this and keep getting away with it and keep getting away with it and keep getting away with it and keep getting away, you think they're not going to do it to somebody in your family? You think they're not going to do it to somebody you know? You think they're not going to do it to a loved one, a girlfriend, a boy? Why would they stop? So people that try to make it that victim's problem or make it like, oh, that person is just a paranoid person, let them have their way. Let them have their way. Because soon enough, trust me, you're going to hear stories about them crying about the same damn thing. And you know what you do? Say, listen, tried to talk to you, but I tried to tip you off early on, man. You act like I was saying something, speaking in Dutch, right? But back to the main point. If you can see that police car sitting there, you see him? So what was I saying previous to that? The point I was making. I forgot my train of thought. But long story short, whatever, I was talking about, it should have made its way to, there should be some activists. Or where's the civil rights groups? Where's the NAACP? Where's Al Sharpton? Right? Where's Attorney Crump? Where's all these civil liberties groups? Where's Black Lives Matter? How come Black Lives Matter isn't helping the victims of being, who are going through this targeted harassment and living the targeted individual life, not by desire, not by because we want to live it, but it's just, whatever reason they put us on some watch list, or whatever reason they got their eyes on us. And from what I've read and researched, the majority of people that they're doing this to have no criminal record. They're not convicted felons. They're not on probation. They're not on parole. These people are out here literally targeting. Maybe like guys like myself, who's a concealed carry owner. Maybe that's what it is. You become a target because I carry. That's a problem for them, right? It's for my protection, the protection of me, for my safety. I'm a responsible pistol owner, right? Most people don't even know that I carry because I don't advertise it. I don't talk. That's not my job to be telling you nothing. I ain't gonna tell nobody my personal business. It's for my personal safety, right? They claim you got Second Amendment rights. You don't see them doing this to other people. You don't see them doing this to white folks who carry, right? So I know that's an aspect of it too, which is when you're too clean in this country and you're a black person, that's a problem for the system. And they won't stop until they get some way, somehow, to either get you in their system, arrested, incarcerated, or institutionalized with some mental health label, because that's what they need to execute their later plan. See, it comes in stages. The first stage is to get you labeled. If they can't get a charge on you for some, criminal activity, if you're a law-abiding citizen, they know, like they try, and they try these entrapment schemes and they can't get you on something, that you don't fall into their traps, especially if you're like me, who's prayed up, who's God-fearing and God-loving, and God is, the one who guides my path and orders my steps. If you're like me, they won't stop, man. They will literally work night and day, all day long, to try to get you caught up in the system. So that way, later on, step one is to get you in the system somehow, some way. That's why they send the gang stalkers to mess with you and me, right? They send them gang stalkers out to pick fights with you, to do microaggressions. I'm talking about the Karens and all them you see, right? That's the reason for it. To get you in the system over time, right? And then it's coming after that. If you're not smart and you don't think quick on your feet and you don't know how to handle situations, and if you're not street smart, you're gonna have an interaction with these. You're gonna have an engagement with these cops, because you're on their list. They know who you are. You're not a stranger to them. You may think they don't know who you are. They know who you are. Trust me. And they're just gonna plan a traffic stop. They're gonna plan some type of interaction where they catch up with you now, and then it becomes a headline news story if you're not smart enough how to deal with that situation. This is why we read about them all the time. Such and such got shot. This person was unarmed and he got killed. And they always cover it up by going back to step one, what they got on you in the first place. That's why they work tirelessly to get something, because you're in their sights for destruction. You're in their sights to tear you down and sabotage your life and take you out of this world. That's their agenda. But it comes in stages. It's crazy. Sad, but it's the world we live in, man. It's really sad, but what are you going to do? You know what I mean? What are you going to do? Let's take a drink really quick. I challenge you to find me a news article. I'll donate money to anyone's Cash App. I'll donate $1,000. I challenge you. Of all the police-involved killings across all 50 states of this country over the last 5 years, if you can go back and look it up on Google and pull those articles and pull those news, the news articles about, the situation and what happened, right? Because there's like one every week, right? I challenge you to find me one article where it does not end with blaming the victim who was murdered or killed or shot by the cops, if you want to call that, fatally shot. I challenge any person to find me one article that, I'm not talking about the person's lifestyle, what they did and what they, they were employed here and there. Who cares? I'm talking about how they wrote the news article. I challenge you to find an article that does not describe that person's character and sum up their whole life after that killing as that they had mental health issues. You're either going to see that they say that they had mental health issues, or they were a drug addict, or they had a criminal history, or what? They were suicide. Oh, you're going to find, it's always going to be the blame game that that individual who was fatally killed had something prior. It's just like in the health field when they say you have a pre-existing condition, right? Very similar. That's the strategy. They're using the same strategy the health insurance companies use when they want to deny you for something. Oh, You have a big toe that's too big. Well, you have a pre-existing condition. What is that? Oh, my toe is too big, so I can't get great cut. You know, it's the same crap these people are doing. That's why they work night and day at trying to entrap people like me who are on their list of targets. Right? I challenge you. Find me an article, because I've read a lot of them. I challenge you to find one that doesn't say that the person had some type of mental health issue. What does that even mean? That can mean anything. You know what I mean? Come on, man. You could be taking prescription medication from your primary care physician, and you never had any issues with no being institutionalized, or you don't see no psychiatrist, and you don't see no, psychologist, and they can say that you have just by the medication that you take. Maybe it's pain meds. Who the hell knows? I don't know, right? But do you see how they use the semantics, how they play with semantics to make that person who was fatally killed look like a bad guy? Disgrace the family, right? Their family has to read about that in the papers when their family member is killed by the police, fatally shot. That their daughter, when they know truth and fact, their daughter never suffered from no mental health issue, none of that. But that's how they run with the article. That's why they keep doing this stuff, because they want to get you emotionally riled up and angry to the point where you go and yell at them and curse at them and exchange F-bombs. Hey, F you, man. Why you follow her? Meanwhile, you on body camera. And then they're just going to keep doing that to you and doing that and doing it and doing it. And then they put a montage together, and that becomes your character to their superiors, where they go back to their superiors and get a justified killing. Where's the NAACP trying to put a stop to this? I raised that challenge. Where is the NAACP? Where is all the civil liberties groups that say that they're out here fighting for, civil rights? All the civil rights organizations. Why there is no one addressing this issue? How can all police killings that happen, even George Floyd, they said he was a drug addict. They said he was to this day, they say George Floyd didn't, Floyd. To this day, the news media always, when you listen to them on Fox and CNN, no matter what station you go to, they always say that George Floyd died from fentanyl. They will say that Mr. Derek Chauvin stepped on his neck, and the one but they will never say that is the cause of death, or that was the cause of his demise, asphyxiation. They don't say that. They say, first and foremost, they always lead in with his drug history, right? That he did drugs, and he was a fentanyl abuser, this, that. And the coroner report, although it addressed that he died, because I saw the case when that case was going on in the courts. It was one of the few cases that I watched on, it was very mesmerizing, that case. Because the lawyers, they were good in that case. I like watching those court cases. So the coroner report clearly says that he died from asphyxiation. Why is the news media still going around labeling him a fentanyl addict? Suggesting and making it suggestive that that's the way he died. It wasn't really from, asphyxiation. It was from, he had too much fentanyl in his system. This is the world we live in, man. So you got to know what you're doing with these people. That's all I'm trying to say, man. And I'm going to end this video by saying, that's what I forgot I was saying earlier. Yeah, this is where your tax dollars is going. So when you call the police, when you have a real situation, the reason why they're taking an hour and a half, or 2 hours and 3 hours at times to show up to your emergency call, and you're sitting there wondering why they're taking so long, is because they're out here stalking someone else and trying to entrap someone else so they can hit their quota, and they can build a profile, they call it an FBI profile. But that's what FBI, because the FBI has one of the most sophisticated behavioral units in the world. So it's all about behavioral profiling. They have like a list of people in society. They know your pathology. They know your background. They know who you are. They got an eye on you. You may think they're not watching you. They're watching your every move, and they're waiting for you to step in shit. They're waiting for you to make a mistake. Even if you make a mistake and break the law, you may not even see police show up. They won't, don't think they're not watching you, though. They're watching everything if you're on that list. And how do you know if you're on that list? Again, I just gave you the criteria. The criteria usually is if you have no criminal record, you're not bothering nobody, you're out here just trying to do better for yourself and build your life and take care of your kids and family if you got kids or whatever, maintain your, especially if you're a concealed carry owner and you're black. They're watching you like a hawk. Be careful who you talk to. Be careful if you're a man, the females that you talk to out here. Not every female that you see that looks sexy is meant to talk to, bro. They got people everywhere, man. They call them confidential informants. That's the term of it. The acronym is CI. They're called CIs. Confidential informants. Those are basically the people that get caught up on a charge and they get to sign that paperwork to get a reduced sentence or get a reduced charge, and then they send them back into society. They send them back into the community. They become community watchers. So your buddy, your friend, you may think these guys, oh yeah, be careful, man. Keep it clean. Don't break the law. Do the best you can do. Keep it pushing and stay prayed up, because that's all we can do out here is stay prayed up, trust in the Lord, and believe that the Lord has you, man. God got you covered. God got me covered. Because if he didn't have me covered, I didn't avoid so much stuff. And I've escaped so many entrapment schemes that they've thrown at me. And of course, by the day I get smarter, I get wiser, I get more, knowledge and understanding as to their tactics, right? So what you're seeing now is the latest tactic of the psychological abuse part of it, because a guy like me, I got no criminal record. No felonies, no misdemeanors. All right, great. I'm educated. I got a college degree, all that, right? I'm not bragging. What I'm saying, though, is how do you take a guy like that down? He ain't going to slip up on no criminal like that. So they're playing the psychological abuse aspect of it to try to, and I'm telling you, they do it a lot. If they keep doing it over and over, it's predictive programming. You know what I'm saying? It's psychological abuse to condition you to feel. They want to condition you to feel less than whenever you see a siren, like you did something wrong and you need to be scared when you see them circling like sharks. It's all mind games, man. All mind at that point of it, at that level of it. They do kill people. Don't get me wrong. These people take people out. But again, you got to know the levels to this thing, man. It's levels. You know what I mean? This is what we read about in scripture. God called it Ephesians 6:10-20. God called it principalities and powers. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but rather principalities and powers and the dark spiritual rulers of this world and the heavenly hosts, right? God is telling you that in scripture. It's the same thing I just talked about. That's what it is. So that's why he tells us to put on the spiritual armor of God. That's what you need to do. Stay close to the Lord, stay protected, stay prayed up, because they're not going to stop. It's a business for these people. If they get you on the charge, they're going to flip you and send you back in the community as a community watcher or, an informant, whatever, CI, confidential, because there's a different level of informants, right? I'm not going to get into that part, but there's different types of informants. But sometimes it's not about flipping you. Sometimes they have a mark on you to kill you. Some people, they want to take you out of this world, man. They want to line it up, call them, you know what I mean? Even some of your family members, friends are in on it, so they can get paid on an insurance policy. Sometimes people got insurance policies on your head you don't even know about. Go check into all of that. Check the database. There's ways to look into this stuff. Check databases. I can tell a specific database to check into the next video I post, but it's like a national insurance database that you can check if there's outstanding policies. You know what I mean? It's sad to say this and say this stuff, and it's sad to speak like this, but it's important to know what's going on around you. So check into that kind of stuff. The other play that they use sometimes is with the when it's like when you do hear about those far and few between stories of when a cop is actually found to be in the wrong of a fatal shooting or something. Like let's say with the Tyree Nichols situation, when them cops beat Tyree Nichols to death, them 5 officers, and blamed it. Oh, he was sleeping with one of the guy's wife. Bull crap, right? But long story short, in those types of situations, like the Derek Chauvins and those types, that play is all about suing the city. And there's multiple people involved in that. The paramedics, the cops, they all get a cut underneath the table. Meaning, a man or woman just lost their life. Then you'll see the national black lawyer, used to be Johnny Cochran, for us now is Mr. Crump, right? You'll see them ride into town on the horse, right? Do you know Mr. Crump is worth almost $300 million, all from death checks? Yeah, look up his net worth. Majority of it is from death checks. So when they come into town, they go find your mama. They go find whatever family member is there with you. You know what I mean? Whoever was close to you in your life, your baby mama. NAAC comes out. They do a 2-day little march, right? And they all wait for that check to come from the city. Because the city attorney and the city's insurance company is the one that's going to pay it. So that's why the city attorney is always in. That's why when you peel back the onion, you start to figure out the players in this stuff. Usually it's the city attorney, I'm not going to say the police chief, because sometimes the police chief knows what's going on or knows what the scheme is, and sometimes they not always know. That's why it's important to document things, take names and badge numbers. Anytime I interact with these cops out here, I get their name and badge numbers, right? I don't play with these people. I'm big on documenting, right? So that's why if you're going through targeted harassment on a constant basis, it's important, but you got to pick your battles. It's important to definitely get letters out to the right superiors, because you don't want them to come back and act like they didn't know about anything. We didn't know what was going on. You know what I mean? They can play that game too, right? But you got to know how to go about it, man. But yeah, in that play, in the last one I just described, you're dead. Or if it's me, whatever, that particular individual, that life, the sanctity of life is so important. That person can never get his life or her life back. They're gone. They've been fatally shot to death or fatally brutalized and beat to death by police. And then I'm not going to call them family, because not every person that's related to you is your family, right? Just because we share the same blood don't mean we're family. And y'all know what I'm talking about. But your blood relatives, some of them who even hated you, your life was now, they're going to live a better life because of your death, because they're going to sue the city attorney, and this city attorney is going to turn over to the city insurance company. And if it makes the news and it's a big enough case in the headlines, right, they're going to have to settle. That's a business for these people. They do it often. All these killings that's happening. Go back and do your research, man. It's stages to how these things get lined up over time. Stages. But that's that. I got to go, man. Got to try to make some money. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to say God bless everyone. Peace be with you. Stay safe, stay protected, stay situationally aware. And peace. I'm out.